Join me in taking the deepest breath you've taken all day. In through the nose and out through the mouth.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Medicine from Our
Hands. We are your co-hosts.
Dr. Charlie here, elemental alchemist here to bring ancient wisdom back to modern time.
And Blossom Legend. I am a doula, I'm a chef, I'm an artist, and I'm here to bring real medicine, real wellness to your hands from our hearts.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you. So we'll get right into it. We got a bit of a short episode today. So what's happening already this week is we got some cool things happening. We've got, let's see. So we got on June 7th, we got Drum Circle going on in Austin at a museum.
Yeah.
And now that was really beautiful. They invited us to come and do a drum circle there.
Yeah,
so it's
ceremony.
So it's going to be real beautiful in Austin.
That's actually on the 6th.
On the 6th, that's right.
7th,
Saturday.
We will be attending the drum circle at the Monkey Tree.
Ooh.
If you're in Austin, stay tuned for that. It's going to be cool. Andrea Daniela, Mish Martinez will be leading the circle, and we hope you guys can join us.
Yeah. And then on June 12th, Friday night, we got Conspiracy Night.
Whoa.
And I'm really excited for this one. This one is going to be Tranquility Wellness, where we're going to really give opportunity for people to share their best and favorite conspiracies.
Mm-hmm.
I think in this time of revelation, it's time for us to kind of come in community and share our favorite conspiracies and really talk about where are we getting this information? What does it mean to have this information? Because it's disinformation, misinformation on top of real information is out there. And unfortunately, not everybody has a discernment to understand what is right, what is wrong, what is truth, what is lies. So Conspiracy Night is hopefully a way for us to kind of come together and really have deeper conversations. A lot of people have not talked about things that came out post-COVID. That's a deeper conversation that we need to have. So Tranquility will be hosting quarterly conspiracy nights to really, we are in the conspiracy of medicine. So it's a good place for us to host conspiracies.
And if you haven't checked out Charlie's incredible clinic, not sponsored, but it has been life-changing. Him and his 3 sisters have opened this clinic that focuses on holistic wellness and body healing through mental health modalities, physical modalities, and of course medicine. So there's sound bath, there's like this incredible Hocket detox machine. Charlie, of course, offers acupuncture to the point. And his sisters, what's so amazing about them, they have such a vast diaspora of knowledge. One is a dentist, one is a speech pathologist, and the other is a pharmacist. Duh, how could I forget that? And so their clinic has blessed and touched my life. And so the Conspiracy Night is a node, but go for sure, check it out.
Yeah. And then after that, we got June 28th. We have our friend Rachel will be doing an event. I guess it's a sound bath / experience.
Tease,
yes.
Exactly.
And then that will be followed up by a drum circle as well. So that's June 28th at Luna.
Yep. Luna's north.
Mid. It's around it's in the 8th, in the Beltway 8 area.
Okay, cool. If you're in Houston, come check us out there.
Yeah. And then we're excited for our first inaugural Freedom Under the Stars camping trip at Porterland. We had an amazing partner who introduced us to this beautiful land and said that we have an opportunity to really co-create a nature spiritual retreat space on 100 acres, and for us to develop that. And so we've been kind of working behind the scenes for a while, trying to build this up. And so July 4th will be our first inaugural weekend to really show what it takes to basically get ourselves off the matrix, right? The grid.
Grid.
And it's Porter's really close because it's in between. I mean, it's kind of like near Spring Woodlands, Texas. So it's like an hour away from downtown. So it's really nice that it's not away from Houston. It's really still local to Houston. Yeah.
And the pine trees are amazing. The land feels very untouched by any humans, and today, day and age, that's so rare. Everything is so overpopulated and overstimulated. So
exactly.
It's so nice to see.
And we won't have any curfew either, so we can do drum circles all night long.
and we're not that far from, we're not that close to any neighbors per se.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be able to really jam, really as to our heart's content. So definitely join us for that. And there might be fireworks, maybe not. We'll see, but we'll definitely be the fireworks.
Ooh, firefall. And then July 6th through the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and then the 13th through the 17th, 5 days, the second week, and 5 days this third week of July. I am the director of Peace Camp this year. Yay! The Houston Peace and Justice or Center for Justice has been doing this camp for about 40 years, and it's about bringing children ages 5 to 17 together, but of course separately in different age-appropriate activities, but teaching them conflict resolution, peace, war, how to navigate this very trying world through the chaos by finding peace within. So this year, myself and Mish Martinez will be the directors, and we're going to bring some really cool healing modalities to the children. Sound bath, drum circles. We're going to be making sourdough and focaccia. We're going to be doing tie-dye, mindful exercises like yoga, breathing. And so if you are in Houston looking for something fun for your kids to do, it's going to be from 9 to 3 and at the Houston Mennonite Church. That's kind of in Spring Branch.
Is that something that people can drop off their kids? Or?
You can drop off your kids. The only thing we ask is you drop them off with a sack lunch, and then we will provide refreshments and snacks and drinks as well. But just the kids eat together, and that's nice.
That's awesome. Definitely send your kids out. I know you guys, I always hear parents are always looking for something for their children to do, and sometimes the parents need a break. So being able to drop off your kids to be able to connect to something so conscious is really important right now, definitely for the kids.
I agree. And last year when I was participating in Peace Camp, I did a sound bath, and it was just amazing to see. It doesn't matter if you're pregnant, not, if you're a child, if you're an adult. Sound healing is necessary for us all. And so I'm happy to bring that again there. So,
awesome. So those are all the events that's coming up in the next month and a half. So definitely check our our description on the YouTube or Substack, and also check and follow us on Instagram. We're always posting events that we're doing as well. And now moving on to our next topic of conversation, really excited to actually introduce you guys to really what's blowing up lately is these really interesting events. So Las Vegas had this interesting DJ running experience. You guys can see what's happening right now is there's a lot of cross of wellness with other things. And so this one was basically people running and just raving and DJing and, playing music together. So instead of actually dancing at a club, people were actually running with the DJ itself. And so this is really changing the conversation. Wellness is now becoming really the prime event, and they are crossing wellness with other stuff, right? So running clubs is a big one. And this one is everywhere. This one is in Vegas. There's a couple of things in Brazil, in different South American cultures. And then we have these things called sauna raves. So this one is in Canada. As you can see, people are basically hanging out and meeting. You can see the DJ booth here, and people are just in a sauna, and people are hanging out. Different events, men and women are meeting. And so you can see, this is the place where people are looking to connect now, is they're having these awesome rave experiences. So really music is coming to a big piece of wellness, but that is showing up in kind of different places like a sauna. They're probably doing cold plunges together. So running and such are all kind of these new events that people are looking to do. And so what's really interesting is you can see that, I'm trying to find, this is a long video, but people are looking to connect. Here's kind of a couple cold plunges while the music is happening. And for us, what we're trying to do is we're really trying to push for the idea of sound bath and drum circle as music rather than just the typical synthetic techno. Nothing
That's
wrong
what that
with
is.
synthetic music, but we're really the live band with the sound bowls, and we're getting the sound bath experience on top of the wellness. And so coffee shops are doing these events as well. You see coffee shops coffee shops are staying later now because everybody was doing coffee shops, in like the 6 a.m. to like the 2 p.m. But what's happening is not opening up these coffee shops, tea lounges, from like 8 p.m. to midnight because people are looking to socialize in the evening, Friday nights and Saturday nights. And that's kind of where Conspiracy Night came from, is I wanted to, instead of wellness, it is conspiracies, but we're meeting on Friday nights rather than going out to a bar to socialize. And we found that Houston is starting to change. People are not drinking as much here in Houston. People are looking to do more wellness stuff. So I've heard that a lot of people are not going out on Friday, Saturday nights because they're trying to wake up Saturday and Sunday morning to go running together, right? And so the alcohol space has changed quite a bit, and you can see that with the battle of cannabis all over in different states. You see that big push for really trying to find new ways to engage consciously, because a lot of times alcohol kind of really inhibits, but makes you want to run away from your problems, or you lash out anger and not being able to deal with the problem, and then you start causing new problem. And how many times have we heard drunk texts causing all these issues, right?
My God,
and so
DWI.
Exactly. Yeah. So then you end up having to deal with the after effects of that evening versus actually the after effects of these evenings is you're actually feeling better, you're feeling great, and you can go back to the weekday and feeling amazing rather than having the whole weekend trying to recover from some kind of event you did. So wellness is becoming a really big thing. And what we're seeing is because it's hitting in the mainstream, you're seeing that the industry is now developing as $1 trillion industry in wellness. You can see it also with the biohackers and a lot of spaces. And so that's why even in our own space, we have kind of this Hocket machine kind of showing up now. And so
what, Dr. Charlie, what is a Hocket, HOCATT machine?
It's hypothermic ozone carbonic thermic treatment.
Shake my hand.
It's quite the long name, but what it is actually a couple modalities together. It is a sauna, red light therapy. You're taking in oxygen. You are getting the Rife machine, which is frequency microcurrent. And that's really all the modalities all in one. And that's what really kind of improving your detoxing abilities. And so I use that a lot actually with patients who are looking to detox because fasting and detoxing are not very common practices in today's society. And so we're trying to bring them. So necessary because we're constantly being bombarded by toxins and chemicals, and aluminum and metals everywhere. And so it's a good way where you can then, and it's really fun because I like to show people like the fluid that comes out of their body. And then you see all the gunk that came out of the sweat. You're like, wow, this came out of me. Like, yeah, this stuff came out of you. Imagine, how often we no longer sweat, And so that's why the ironic part is these raves, right? They're having these raves in the sauna because they are sweating it out, but they're also there with music.
It's like a 2-for-1.
Exactly.
3-for-1.
Yeah.
You get music, you're detoxing, and you're partying.
Exactly.
Having a good time.
Having a good time. Socializing, right?
Socializing,
Because a lot of
connecting.
people are looking for a space to socialize, but they, again, don't want to
Yeah.
be in a space of, and then you like get in crazy, stupid fights, in these places. There's no need for
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
you know?
I'll never just outrightly bash alcohol for the sake of people have their own journeys. But what I can see is just every negative thing you could think of that can happen with an alcohol in a you. It I don't even want to say it's bound to happen. I won't even speak that, but it's happened. It can happen again, and it affects people at large. And in defensive driving, the whole point of not drinking and driving and drinking responsibly is that you're driving for yourself, yes, but you're driving for the rest of the world, your children, your ancestors, your neighbors, your friends, your loved ones. The next person could be your mom or your brother or sister. So, yeah, alcohol can be very dangerous, and that's the more awareness. Instead of having dangerous, problematic things and running to something that won't solve it, let's run towards solution.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can see as that's why I created Conspiracy Night, but really people are waking up. And what we mean by that is people are becoming more conscious of what they're putting into their body, what their body is feeling, and what they're choosing to affect the people around them and themselves. And because of that, we are, pioneers and leaders in the space. And we have to be very conscious also as well of what we're passing on and sharing with people. Because, sure, we might be depriving you of these stories of the drunken stupor you had, a couple of weekends ago. But really, what are some things that you can actually improve in your life because you're choosing wellness, your wellness, and your friends' wellness and people around you's wellness over a bad night, right? And so that's kind of the big push too, because what we're running into is a lot of people talk about preventative medicine, and they always kind of treat medicine like an icky thing. Oh, I don't want to go through medicine. Medicine sucks, blah, blah. Guess what? Play music and have a good time while you're doing medicine, right? And so now you're seeing that the wellness space does not have to be a boring space, a sad space. Medicine does not have to feel scary and something that you don't want to do, because this is kind of what's happening is people have been avoiding medicine because so for me it's needles, right? People are like, I don't want to go get anything with needles because in Western medicine those needles are ginormous, okay? And so this is where size does matter. And when we have our tiny needles that are getting through, and really we're getting into the physical body. So we are actually doing surgery, but we're not doing invasive surgery where we're cutting you up and you're going to be, offline for a few days. You walk out after 20, 30 minutes and you're going about your day normally, but we did go put needles inside you to support your overall health. So I think it's so important for us to have a conversation of wellness should be fun, should be a thing you want to do every weekend, because let's be real, weekday while you're working that 9 to 5, we can't ask you to leave your 9 to 5, but we can definitely support your overall wellness so that 9 to 5 doesn't put you in a space where by 65 you're no longer living life. Your body's broken and you can't enjoy retirement.
Yeah, you have to get there. In order to get there, you got to get there now with yourself. Don't put off taking care of your body. That's the most foolish thing you can do. You can do a lot of foolish things, but that's number one no. Only because guess what? You only get the one temple. You get the one body. If you're blessed enough to have the 2 hands, the 2 feet, the 2 eyes, the 1 brain, the 1 heart. People have to get liver transplants and heart transplants and blood transfusions and chemo. There's just so many things that happen to the body once you stop taking care of the body. Autoimmune diseases included, and that's neither here nor there. Can be genetically disposed to it, can be something you're triggering in your own life style for it, but there is help and healing for those even suffering with sickle cell, POTS.
And what we're running into is really burnout and stress has really gone. We used to hear burnout being a thing for 50, 60-year-olds, right? Today,
Yes.
I think, people make fun of the kids today and they're like, oh, you're 25 and you're already burnt out?
Yes.
Yo, what have we done to our
Yes.
kids, to our young adults at 25, they're already burnt out? That's a problem.
That's a big
That's a big problem because, and you can see a lot of, and it's this really tough because you have the elder generation kind of like making fun of the younger generation saying,
They
hey,
are?
yeah, I mean, it's a very,
What?
like they don't have the discipline to keep a job. They don't have this, don't have that. And what really happened is, like our older generation, the boomers, like they went from they're the ones really who caused a lot of the toxin overload in the system because they chose to do the easy, quick things during their time, petroleum stuff and for big pharma and big ag. And it's like, oh, we're supporting so that now we can have more money to live our life. And what happened is big agriculture, big pharma kept pushing the envelope. And today now, the younger ones who are probably sensitive cannot handle the pharmaceutical overload that is in their food, in their vaccines, in their medication. We're telling all kids who basically you can't sit still because they've been in a sitting room for like 8 hours that they can't sit still. So we need to give them prescription drugs because they have ADHD. You send a kid out for an hour to go play in their yard and bring them back, they'll shut up. They'll listen to you. They'll regulate.
They're done.
Yeah. And so this is why, like, it's unfortunate that I think the older generation has kind of taken a nonchalant attitude of wellness because they trusted their doctors to like give them a quick pill to fix it. But, our generation today, so we're in the mid generation. This is the mid generation in the 40s, in the 30s. We recognize there's a lot of problem, but we also have the discipline to stay in jobs for longer. And so what we're realizing is we're choosing better jobs and careers that give us a balance of work life.
Right.
And that's giving us now an opportunity to then spend money on preventative medicine. But the younger adults, 20, 25, they don't really need to deal with the stress per se. However, they've been, the immunization records, they're like 72 vaccines by 6 years old.
Wild.
So by the time they're 18, no wonder they have all these diseases and all these deficiencies and problems in their bodies, especially if we're cutting, genitals away at 13, you guys. Like, that's what they're living in. So we've really, as adults, have done a really disservice to the younger generation because now remember, we've been in this world longer than they have. And so by really attacking them, we're attacking the next generation of humans.
Yes.
And that's why we make such a big deal that we need to pay attention to our children because our children is our generation that we are passing our legacy to. What's the point of doing all this work when, you're just going to earn all this money and what? Like, die with it? You don't die with it. You pass it on to a legacy, to the next generation. And this next generation is overloaded with chemicals and drugs and all these problems. They're not going to be able to sustain a job. And so it is really important for us to recognize a feedback loop that we've caused at the younger generation rather than complain that they're not able to do things that we were able to do back in our days. It's such a silly thing. It's like, back in my days, Sonny, and we always joke, like, back in your days, granddad, you walked 20 miles. I get it. But today, like, if you walk 20 miles in Houston, you're probably going to get an accident, right? Everyone's drinking and driving. There's no sidewalks because you guys didn't create sidewalks for us to walk on. And so, we have to kind of, as adults, also recognize that we have to take ownership to some of the problems that we've caused to our younger generation and become a steward. And that's kind of where peace camping is an opportunity for us to actually get off of the grid, see how nature does everything in harmony without us getting involved. And both generations are able to kind of connect where the parents and the children are able to connect to nature. Let the kids play. Let the kids play with no supervisors. Nature is its own supervisor, right? And they're able to kind of regulate their systems. And so when you're finally talking to the kid, they'll listen because they've regulated their nervous system versus half the time you bombard them with, social media, phone screen, the food, I know you guys are probably giving you guys super sugars and super coffees to these kids, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And also helicopter parenting and like overcorrecting. Oh yeah, let the plant grow. Let it blossom, let it bloom, like give it a chance, The other thing is that this is how I just saw it, so I'm working through it, but was like, when did I stop loving to be outside? I never stopped. Recess, like from fourth grade, you have like the last recess. Fifth grade, you start doing PE. So that takes up like the physical activity time. Cool. I did dance. I was a very active child. I played softball, basketball, and volleyball. The point is, it was then in high school that it was like, well, get on the line, run suicides, and like these things. Okay, so then being outside, like that outside recess space became kind of militant and training, fine, for a purpose, team building. I'm all for that. That's how you build community. But we let our college students and high school students that don't go pro down by not then reintroducing that recess to kids and then having adult playgrounds. Why don't we have adult playgrounds here or anywhere? So I just processed this 5 minutes earlier when we were talking, because I was like, adults don't like being outside because like you smell like outside, the bites, things. But when you're a kid, it doesn't matter. You don't care. And you're convincing your mother and father every day to go to the park. We stop because the programming enters in school, quenches your zeal to be outside. You become an adult and all you want to do is the comfort of being in the great indoors with AC. And it's just quite the opposite, because like comfort, after too much comfort can kills, right? So there's a level and balance. But I realize why adults have all the addictions: people, sex, drugs, porn, overstimulation, because they're not regulating themselves naturally, like not against their own will or anyone else's, to be outside. It's so hard to, adults are trying to convince me like I need a shower or bathroom to absolutely be able to camp. Fair. But don't you see the benefit of being a bit uncomfortable for a short period of time in your life to then grow you, to expand your consciousness and horizon to be better for your work week or just in life?
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to the whole idea of distraction, overstimulation. Is if your everyday is stimulated a certain way, then the next day you want that extra stimulation because you're like, oh, I'm bored now. I want something more and more and more and more. And so you become overstimulated because you keep adding. Versus in nature, what happens is all of the things just fall away. You're just sitting there. I mean, people can stare at running water for hours, right? And this is why this like the biggest background pictures for most places on YouTube is just people ironically pay these videos to go and watch nature in the comfort of their zone on their couch rather than to actually go to nature. And I feel like this is kind of where Boy Scouts and Girl Scout really ruined it for a lot of people, I think, in America.
Whoa.
I think the reason is like, my parents were like, oh yeah, we're going to do Boy Scout. I was like, I wanted to do Boy Scout. And they're like, no, we can't afford it. We can't be there with you. So we're not going to do Boy Scouts. And so that was the end of my journey outdoors. Right. And that was such a detriment to us because if we didn't have the money, we couldn't do Boy Scouts, we didn't do Girl Scouts and be outside. Right. So that's why like the big piece for us is actually we're doing Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts for men and women, because as adults, we need a version of Boy Scout, Girl Scout. It is camping. And that's why we're bringing experiences in the camping space, but we're also giving you plenty of space to just be in nature for you to have your own relationship with that experience, because you don't need anything when you're in nature. And what happens is your body kind of reduces the stimulation, and then you go back to like natural state, and then everything that happens above that natural state is a good dopamine hit. The problem today is you're kind of like chasing more dopamine hits, and that's why the distraction and the overstimulation. I was saying this to one of my patient. He's constantly being overstimulated, and it's like this is why the reason we go into nature is because there's not a whole bunch of words all over the place, right? Some people live in like places where they have a lot of words, text, and things to read on the wall. So every time they walk in, people don't realize you may not be reading the text, but your subconscious is actually reading the text, right? And you're paying attention to everything. And we tend to actually, anytime we walk into a room, and usually in like a city space, your subconscious is picking up every little trigger, especially if you're a little bit of a hypersensitive person. you're picking up everything. So if there's an alarm here, a honk here, moving here, a kid here, a kid pooing here, a dog pissing here, you're picking that up, all of it. And what's happening, it's overloading your subconscious. And so when you're ready to like actively pay attention to something, your subconscious is like squirrel, like looking for something. In nature, everything's harmonized, like someone's playing beautiful harmonic music. Everything is just in peace. And what happens, your subconscious goes back to the nothingness, the void, where nothing is happening. And in that nothing is happening, you don't have any major crazy thoughts. And that's kind of where like the greatest place to meditate is in nature. However, the practice of meditation is not to just meditate in nature, but to take the practice of calming your nervous system into the chaos of the city. And that's really why we practice meditation. And a lot of times I'm not a big fan of how I think modern meditation is kind of like the same thing as biohacking or yoga. They've taken a little bit of the science behind meditation, and then they tell you need to reach this level 100 of meditation. And a lot of people say, I can't meditate because I can't clear my mind. You guys, the goal of meditation at level 100 is you are clearing your mind. At level 1 to 20, you're just looking at your thoughts, the thoughts that have been looping in your mind. And a lot of times, most people are level 1 through 10. They're not even level 20 yet. And so most of the people are striving for like becoming a Zen monk. Dude, you can't be a Zen monk overnight. It will take you years to become a Zen monk that's at level 100 that can have one clear thought and no thought when they're just looking and being around people. So a lot of times I try to like retrain people, hey, for the first month, almost 6 months, all you have to do is I want you to practice looking at your thoughts. Sit down in quietness and look at the thoughts that are popping up. Those thoughts, write them down. If you don't know what to do with it, write them down. And eventually you'll kind of process that thought. Oh, I keep doing this every day. I think about this one thought. Ask yourself why. And eventually you'll say, I don't need this thought anymore. I am not a 2-year-old kid running this program. I'm now an adult. But a lot of times these childhood trauma are looping thoughts. And so as adults, what happened is, oh, I'm scared of this. Why? Because when I was 6 years old, that happened. That scared the shit out of me. And now every time I see it, it scares me. It's no longer relevant to your adult age. And when you're able to release that, you're able to really recognize that those thoughts can go away. And so when you practice looking at these thoughts and really releasing them and processing them, eventually you get to level 20 when you have less thoughts and only new thoughts come in. So that eventually you get to level 50 to 100. There's no old thoughts permeating on your consciousness, and you're only getting new thoughts. At the moment, you're in present moment because the old is not coming to attack you. The future anxiety is not coming to attack you. You're just sitting there with no thoughts from the old loops and new loops. And you're just looking at what's happening to you right now and appreciating, I can appreciate the sun. I can appreciate the air. I can appreciate my body and feeling my heart rate. And that's the goal of meditation. But most people need to go through just step 1 through 20, which is just processing the thoughts that you're having. And this goes and is also very important when we talk about plant medicine or sacred journeys or shadow work. In shadow work, you're supposed to look at the things you're afraid of. And that's part of meditation. So that eventually you are in a meditative space and you're zoned into to no thoughts because you've already cleared your thoughts and you're just paying attention to people. That's why a lot of times when you listen to somebody and then you kind of zone out and you think of something else, that's because that thought is looping in your head and comes back up and then it distracts you. So now people, are you paying attention to me? Oh yeah, I just had all these distracting thoughts. That's because they're percolating from your busy subconscious.
Oh, why is a busy subconscious bad to harbor, hold on to, Dr. Charlie?
Okay.
Wait, one more deep breath.
One deep breath. The subconscious is really what we call the operating system. And so our subconscious actually has a greater mind. It uses our whole body to process information versus when we use conscious mind, we're really talking and I say this in a scientific term, but when we talk about the conscious mind, prefrontal cortex, that very left brain processing energy. However, your subconscious is constantly integrating inputs. And so the subconscious is actually where you can process a lot of information, but it doesn't have to be right now. You don't have to push, I need to figure out right now what to do. That's a very conscious thing. The subconscious is when you see, let's say you were bitten by dogs when you're younger. Every time you see a dog, you get triggered. And then now you're afraid and you're freaking out and you're starting to sweat. Your subconscious recognized that dog as an old trigger and it's now running your physical body. And so in your head, you're like, I don't know why I'm suddenly sweating and freaking out. And then you see the dog, right? It's because your subconscious took over your body and now it's starting to act out. And so our subconscious is very important to actually have nervous system regulation, so that you don't react and trigger yourself, because every time you see a dog, you're going to remember that moment that, that dog scared you. But right now in the moment, you're like, hey, that's a little dog. It looks so nice. Maybe I can have a different relationship with that dog. And you now have the opportunity to have neuroplasticity, which is create new neurons, a new relationship with the dog you're seeing in a conscious moment, because your subconscious is not triggering an old childhood wound and trauma. And so our subconscious is very important to have it clear, because those subconscious keeps you away from being afraid to go out into the world. And that's where people are like, COVID is probably in people's subconscious right now. So people who haven't really processed COVID and let it go, they're already thinking, oh, I can't trust people because people might be the one killing me because of their cough, right? That subconsciousness has made people afraid of people. And because of that, we haven't processed that. So that's why you see people not going out and meeting random strangers anymore, because we inherently picked up this people are bad, they could kill you because if they cough on you, you could die from COVID, right? And that subconscious is in a lot of people still. I run into a lot of people who come in and I try to regulate their nervous system, and they'll tell me stuff that either in childhood trauma or in COVID trauma, because it didn't integrate post-COVID problems. So that's why subconscious, when we talk about shadow work, we're talking about going to your subconscious and releasing and removing the triggers that make you react to the world rather than being able to respond in your own neutral space, an opportunity for something new. And that's why when we talk about being responsible, is to have the ability to respond rather than to react.
That's your responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah. It's ability.
Some
people are not responsible. And that's the whole switching from child to maturity to adult. If you don't have sound village or parents, that can be easily misconstrued or not properly taught, demonstrated.
Yeah, exactly. So in our clinic, why my big focus has been actually the mind, body, spirit alignment. And a lot of people go, why don't you just focus on acupuncture or focus on Reiki or focus on astrology or sound bath? Why did you do all the modality? It's because they're all interrelated, just like the mind is not separate of the body, it's not separate of the spirit and the soul. And so a lot of times what you see is a trinity. And so when the trinity, one of these trinity of the mind, body, spirit is broken or is having a problem, like let's say physically you're having a problem and you're like, oh, you hit yourself, you're bleeding. You're like, oh, I'm freaking out. And you can tell your mind, hey, calm down, take a deep breath. And so you actually tell your mind to take a deep breath. And so your mind regulates because a deep breath happens, and now your mind, body are regulating together. When the spirit, right, you're like, oh, this keeps happening to me. Well, this is why I look at astrology. I go, hey, you've had many reincarnation where you keep having to learn this lesson. So this lifetime you chose to actually finally learn it for the last time. So you are going to create experiences that's going to keep testing whether or not you've learned that lesson. And so when you start looking at things are happening to me and I have bad luck, versus these challenges are happening to test me to make sure that I am this lifetime going to conquer this fear. And that's why these things happen to you, so that you have the opportunity to go, hey, that no longer bothers me. So when you can see a trauma and look at it, smile and laugh at it and make jokes about it, you've conquered it. If you can still, if you're like, oh, I'm freaking out, and then you start crying, you start being hurt by it, as if you're still in that moment where you did get hurt, you're actually putting yourself back into the past, and you're repeating that experience. And that experience will constantly win over your nervous system.
Yes.
And so the goal of shadow work is to actually face your fears by looking at what's causing this nervous system dysregulation, and to be able to look at it and go, it was meant for me, and I'm a better person for it, right? You know, too many times you're like, oh, you lost your leg, boo-hoo, I'm so sad for you. Some people who lose their legs have great experiences after that because they found the gift in the fact that maybe losing my legs made me pay attention to something else.
Nirvana.
Exactly. And so the gift is part of the trauma. And so a lot of times if you're able to face your trauma by nervous system regulation, you are able to see the gift in it.
Well said.
Yeah. So that's why, you know, we look at all these systems when we come in, and when you come into my clinic, because it's important to see where are you at mentally, spiritually, and physically, so that we can address the things that you're strong at and the things that you're weak at. We allow them to work together so that you're not going to your weaknesses without any of your gifts already, because we naturally have survived so many trauma that we have these gifts sitting there. But some people go, oh, that you're good at that. That's just your thing. No, yes, but we should be celebrating that. We should not just be going, oh, that's just Charlie's able to do that. You don't realize all the trauma I went through to be able to do that. And so when you're not able to honor someone's gift, you actually are not honoring their journey through their trauma.
Yeah, the moccasins walking a mile.
Yeah.
A really powerful book. I just need to buy it again and read it cover to cover. The body keeps the score.
Yes.
The body keeps the score. That's the whole trigger trauma cycle. Well, it covers many things, but you should know whatever you've been through, the body is holding on to it. So wellness, I feel, or healing, is the ability to identify, hold, and let it go. And the quicker you're able to do that, the better life I feel like you get to live and experience, because you're not holding on to the crap, the mess of life. Bag lady, you know, you're letting things naturally fall off. So
it's a form of hoarding.
Hoarding.
Yeah, you don't have to hoard your trauma.
Come on. You heard it here first. Medicine from our hands say you don't have to hoard your trauma. Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Let it shift. What is it?
Make
the shift
happen, or get rid, or I forget. Let go of that shift.
Natural shifting happening.
Yeah.
But letting the body, helping the body release, the body will be so grateful for it, and your mind too. And really, it's all the procrastination, it's all of the subliminal energies we picked up by where we go, you know. So it's not just about like the livelihood, yes, but the maintenance of your soul, of your purpose, of who you are. You can only be identified, purified, and really like chiseled down by letting go what no longer serves you. Maybe you need that school lesson you had in 3rd grade, but maybe not. So maybe you close that tab, you know? Because if not now, when you identify it, then when? It could be too late, whatever that means.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think this...
men don't like when women have big problems too. Like, men sense this. Have we talked about this?
Yeah. We should have a conversation about that, because it is actually, you know, you guys should do the research on this, but I've done research on this too. Turns out studies actually started to look at women's bodies in 2000. But before that, there was an assumption that whatever you study in the men's body is the human body in general. And so men's body are exactly like women's body. And that's why you're seeing that like, oh, men and women should be equal. No, even in studies, they've proven men and women are not equal. They're different on purpose, because there's a purpose behind it.
Right.
Turns out men's physical body work on dopamine centers. Okay, this is I need to do this, I need to check off this, and I need to do that. And what happens when you do that? You feel great. You feel like you achieve something. Women's body work on oxytocin. If you guys know what oxytocin is, it's the relationship community hormone. So when you are in relation with someone, when you get a hug, when you feel like someone listened to you, your oxytocin rises up. And so this is why we talk about how women circles are so big right now, because they're releasing oxytocin when you're talking to each other in community. When you're having women's circles, they're all talking and suddenly they're releasing oxytocin. This is why I was saying that I don't like men's group that just sit there and talk because personally,
it doesn't do it for you.
It doesn't do it for me. But if we say, hey, we got to break down this house and we have to demolish it. And in that demolishing, I broke down some walls and my friend, a random stranger that helped me break down a wall together. In that moment, like, good, man. Thank you for like breaking that wall with me. And in that, we had a dopamine trigger together, this camaraderie, because we broke down a wall together. We got to use our big ass muscles or tiny ass muscles together, you know, and together we were able to connect. And so now suddenly, like, I trust that I can tell you stuff and you're not going to attack me because we took down a wall together. And so in a way, there's a trust where like, because we're
in this together.
Yeah, you didn't hurt me. Because the thing is, like, when you're like demolishing a house, there easily could have been like something thrown at you. You could have gotten hurt, and you'd be like, I don't know if I can trust you, homie. Like with my life, right? And so like the dopamine trigger goes, like you can't trust that person because you can't get the work done with that person. But if you can't get the work done with that person, that dopamine hits together. And so now it's a double dopamine hit. And now you're like, hey, let's talk about our shit together, right? And so suddenly we got to the checklist of getting our shit together. But until I could check whether or not I could trust you through doing physical labor together, it was hard for me to trust you.
Yeah. And some of the deepest bonds and relationships I've seen men have start from exactly that. Well, also why there's gym rats, like breaking down the muscle, like to build it up.
That or sports, right?
And
a lot of times in sports too, you see that
golf,
that
tennis,
by competition, there's the working together, and that working together, there's a stronger connection. And it's not because we talked about our problems; it's because we faced problems together in physical sense.
Yeah,
right?
I believe like this is Navy SEALs. This is just every.
So that's kind of why it's super important to recognize that we are different, and because of that difference, we're able to connect to each other. And so this is why I think a lot of times what's happened, even in the feminist concept, you know, because I grew up with 3 women, 3 tiger moms. Okay, my mom's a tiger mom, and so that need to like attack men is in their blood, because it's almost like they are trying to be more successful than the men, because in a way the patriarch has caused these subconscious triggers in their body that they don't feel safe with men, so they have to be men themselves. And so that's why you were seeing the attacks on men, and the attacks on men cause the women to not, you know. Anyways, I'm saying is I've done a lot of research with relationship recently, just because us being fertility healers and helping fertility, if people aren't coming together in relationship and not wanting children, there's no job for us, right?
Right.
And so we're here to breed the new children. But if people are not dating and not falling in love and wanting children together, first of all, sure, we don't have jobs. But second of all, our civilization is done for.
That's like the first point.
Yeah, and then we go into Terminator and Matrix life, and camping is dead, right? So this is why, you know, in our own medicine journey, it's so important to go through personal healing, shadow work, personal problems. And now men come together, work together, women come together, connect together. And then when we all come together, we're hopefully going to recognize, you know, I appreciate that the man can do that for me. I'm not going to nag him. I appreciate that women can do that for me. I'm not going to, suppress or like make fun of her emotion. Because that happens so often. You're like, oh, women, you're just being emotional. Yes. They are.
Absolutely.
And there's no need for you to attack them, because then they turn around and go, hey, don't start shitting on me, because I'm going to start shitting on you the fact that you didn't take out the trash. And then now everyone has, and you could hear this is the general stereotype of relationship.
Yeah,
you didn't take out the trash.
What are you talking about?
He didn't listen to my feelings. And that's like everyone, you know? And this is where like, no, if anything, like, good job for taking out the trash. Dopamine hit. Boom. And then sitting there, I'm listening to you. Oh my God, that sucks that you felt that way. I'm so glad that you're sharing your emotions with me. You don't have to say, you don't have to tell her
Dopamine
how
hit.
you're feeling. You don't have to say anything. You just have to be there for her
Be
and say,
there.
I acknowledge how you feel. And she's like, oxytocin. And then you guys hug it out and boom, I'm sure you
keep
guys making
going.
love after that. But, you know, well, we got to make sure that you guys are making love because we want babies.
Make the love. For the love of love. Make the love. Make the
Make
babies.
the love. But make love. Don't
just
have
make love.
sex.
Woo!
Make love, y'all.
Come on, Charlie.
Yes.
Go.
In our medicine, we're
Yeah.
not just having sex, we're making love,
We're
y'all.
making love.
Because we're really trying to have a spiritual connection together. And
Yeah.
when you're having sex, you're not having a spiritual connection.
I
You're
agree.
you're just putting a rod in a hole, and that's it, right? And it's only physical. And then what happens? You guys cheat on each other because you guys never connected spiritually. You know, we're having way more, unfortunately, bad, unprotected sex at a younger age, lustfully, and that's why you got now a huge push of STDs. And the thing is, because of abortion clinics, we're not having babies. So you guys are having a ton of sex, but you guys aren't making love trying to have babies. And that's where we're in a big medicine problem because, you know, you're not going to get your doctors talking about the real big issue. They're just going to probably give you a pill for the men to keep it up and for women to have some kind of a pill to deal with whatever they're going through. And these pills aren't fixing the problem that spiritually we're disconnected. This is why many cultures, and we see this in Thailand, we see this in Japan, we see it in a lot of Asian culture. That's why like I had to pay attention to my own culture to understand what was happening in the love making, is because we lost our connection to loving the men and loving the women the way spiritually they are meant to be. You know, and you see this because of the feminization of men and the masculinization of women. Now it's like we're on the wrong side of that grass. Is not greener on the other side. And everybody's complaining that, well, my grass sucks. Well, your grass sucks. My grass sucks too. And now everybody just hating on each other. So that's why come out camping when the grass is amazing all the time.
Always. Always a good
And
time.
you don't have to cut the grass because nature takes care of itself. She's got goats and herbivores who cut the
Chickens.
grass.
Yeah.
And chickens, you know, and they poop to make more grass, but then they also fertilize the food that, you know, the men and women are growing together and feeding themselves. So that's a big push for why medicine from our hands is also medicine from nature. Because as we're becoming connected to nature, we are in our own natural flow.
That is not your ad or gentle push from the universe lovingly telling you you need to get outside to go to nature. I don't know what it will take, but guess what? We sincerely hope if you're still watching to this end, to this point, go camping. Go camping in your backyard. Get out of the city. Whatever routine you have, change it. Allow yourself the space just to be, to breathe, to hear the birds chirping, to not just be so glued and addicted to your cell phone. Maybe it's a new song, a new thought, an idea, a deep connection you'll have with someone in nature. But it's some of the best life I'm living. It's some of the best life I've lived. And I can't say enough about the benefits of how I feel changed every single time I go. So.
Yeah. And let us also be clear, there's a spectrum of going out into nature, okay? Please don't start dropping everything, going out and getting an RV or a tent and going out camping and not knowing what the hell you're doing. Start with a walk on a park. If you can find a park, that's nature step 1 through 5, okay?
Yeah.
You know, just go outside in nature for a few hours a day, see what that does to your nervous system. And then if that does amazing, try to figure out how to do a weekend getaway, you know, do a glamping experience. But go by yourself or go with like 1 or 2 people, maybe with family. Maybe family is the one that causes your problems. Don't go with family.
Go
But
with
definitely
friends.
as a relationship, you guys couples should be going out camping together because what really happens is the distraction, the crap, stress goes away. And now you can have a deep conversation of getting to know each other because half the time I'm probably thinking that you guys are having a discussion on all the stress that's causing you about your job, your payment, your bills, the food, blah, blah, blah. And so now you're not talking about your relationship or each other. You're talking about how to survive as a couple in today's age. And that's super stressful for anybody. But in nature, if you got your food already, that's all you need. You just got the 360 TV, you got your food there, and you're just there for each other and just listening, talking to each other. And that's kind of where you're going to have that. And really, men will be men in nature. You need some fire, we'll cut some wood and put some firewood. And now like that dopamine hits. The woman's like, wow, you made a fire. I feel so warm. Thank you. And then, you guys sit closer. She can share what she's feeling. That's an opportunity for connection. And so make that be level 10, 15, 15, 20. But when you're now ready to have nature in community, join us. We have amazing events where we do breath work, we have sound bowls, we got drum circles. So playing music in nature, oh my God, it's so different. You got birds
Top
chirping
tier.
with you, right?
Yeah.
You got the stream. Sometimes you got the rain playing with you. And then dance like no one's watching, or maybe only the birds and animals are watching and dancing with you.
Yeah, it's that. It's always such a good time. It's super restorative. And I think that was the whole idea probably of Airbnb. Go to another house at a random time. Maybe a stranger's cooking you breakfast, something along these lines. But we're really taking, wow. Well, you know what it is? I'm impressed and amazed that we don't rely on Airbnb to find a place to go. Like, we are literally in nature as God intended it to be.
Yeah.
Like the Garden of Eden wasn't a hotel, it was you and the universe.
Exactly. And I've been researching Airbnb too, just because as we're talking about retreat centers, hospitality in general has really shifted, where Airbnb, what's happened now is like people are like, how come I pay for a place now? It's getting as expensive as a hotel, and I have to do all the cleaning and all the taking care of that. And there's so many now stipulations of Airbnb, or there's cameras everywhere. Versus in a hotel room, you come in, people clean up after you, and then you just go home, right? Mm-hmm. And so, what's happened is Airbnb has met the hotel level, and now they're both now not great experiences. And so it's like, that's why we're like, go camping. Yes, clean up after yourself. Don't put trash out there. But after that, like, the wind is cleaning and sweeping. The water is going to clean everything out. The earth herself is naturally taking care of her environment. Mm-hmm. So we don't have to constantly hire someone to go take care of nature. Nature is self-sufficient.
Taking care of you.
Exactly. She's taking care of you. And so we're here to go back to Mother Nature. And the reason why we call her Mother Nature is because she is the mother goddess. And that's why in a lot of religion, when we're not going out into nature, we're missing the mother goddess because we're so busy on looking at Father God from the sky, from the heavens, right? But we're forgetting that, like, no, Mother Nature and Mother Earth herself is the most beautiful goddess because she has been providing us everything, food and nervous system regulation. So it's important. And source, yeah. So it's water, clean water, right? I mean, today, geez, we have to now talk about how bad the water is. Yet, like, you go out into spring water, it's like the water is amazing to drink, right? So it's very important for us to recognize how beautiful the Mother Goddess is, and that's our way of worshiping. Is we worship Mother Nature by being there with her, by connecting with her waters, her elements, and to appreciate that. She gives you peace, right? She gives you peace that you're not getting in the city because everything is just attacking your nervous system.
I agree. And yeah, the great goddess herself, I see her in constellations in the night sky, stars forming. But I can't just say I go camping or into nature with the intent of, I'm going to go connect. Leave that, like, because that's expectation. Just go and be. And when I do that, it's like the connection you feel back to yourself is astronomical. You can't put a price tag on it. You know what I mean? Even something I really want to do, maybe next year, is the 10-day silent retreat. Yeah, I believe it's the one thing we're all missing. It's why parents will say, don't talk back to me. It's like we all have this, like, overproduction of like word vomit or things we have to get up and out. And in this grid, we don't have the proper ways of expelling or expressing in healthy ways that are not just healthy, that are fun. Because like health isn't always comfortable. It can be very painful. It can be brutal. Purging, tough, but necessary, important. And I like to always go back to the thing that I love doing. Birth. Your birth was healthy, traumatic experience for you and your mother. You were fighting for your life. Mom was fighting for her life. There was a push. There was a pull. It was a dance. And you wouldn't be here without that. You know, even if it's a C-section, there's bloodshed. So with that being said, I think to help regulate your nervous system further is giving space and room in your day, life, family life, relationship life, for not just for error, but for the shadows, for the other side, for why people go into addiction in the first place. And it's to satisfy something that you're either a natural need that you can't fulfill with something synthetic that will never fill what the depths of the pain or grief that or trauma you're going through. So I think nature takes you back to the drawing board, sits you down, puts you in front of a chess table, and then you guys play.
Yes.
That's how I see it.
And playing chess with nature.
You see that?
Yeah. Is that what's going on with those stacking rocks?
Exactly. And one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, you know, this really our big thing is always going to be going back to nature because we are really the steward of her, and we are the steward of both the sky and the heavens and the earth herself, right? In Chinese medicine, we consider heaven and earth as like the yin yang, and the human level is us. We are the connection of the two in conjunction with each other. And if you actually see when you put two atoms together and they are quantumly entangled, if you guys do research and look up for entangled quantum atoms, they look like the yin yang symbol. Wow. Because the two atoms are entangled together and they show up as this beautiful yin yang symbol. And so, you know, I believe that the ancients actually understood a lot of the technology that we're remembering again. And that's why nature is the massive library of technology that we could access a long time ago. Our ancient ancestors used to access all the time. And today, because we are removing ourselves from nature and we're reading books from man-made stories, we're constantly really getting disinformation, misinformation, sometimes true information. But in nature, it is only truth, right? You only can feel the truth in her technology. So that's why it's very important for us to go back, because when we all go back to nature, we're not the healers. We're just the guides. The nature is the healer because you are healing yourself naturally by becoming harmony with her.
As above,
so below. And so with that, I hope you guys have a beautiful life, or until our next episode. Yeah. But definitely check us out. We have awesome events, wellness events everywhere going on, and we're going to keep having some wellness events because we really believe in wellness.
Come on.
This is Medicine from Our Hands.
Medicine from Our Hands. We hope to see you guys soon. Check us out. Follow us on Instagram at Medicine from Our Hands, and stay tuned.
Yes.
It's going to be good.
Bye, everybody.
Love you guys.